Last time on Panini DBZ, Power Creep finally entered the game. Starting with the introduction of Cell, who was not playing the same game as the rest of us. He could actually milk broken powers at a level unheard of. All of the other characters were outmatched. Entire decks were built just to combat Cell, before finally Panini intervened and nerfed Cell from the game. But overpowered characters weren't finished. Broly made an appearance. He was so overpowered, with all the tools to deal with every situation. No one could stand before him. It became a Broly on Broly world. We're here today to go ahead and discuss a little bit of DBZ. We're going to go ahead and go over the next set of cards. That was going to be Awakening. It's going to be out here very soon. We're today just going over the previews that are available through Panini and other sources. We were talking a little bit about Power Creep in our little opening. Power Creep is an interesting concept. It's very common to other games. It was not happening as much in Dragon Ball. We mentioned Cell because Cell was the first appearance of Power Creep, where a character is radically different from previous characters and has abilities that basically invalidate whole other characters. We noticed that, of course, with Awakening. In the set of Vengeance, with the appearance of 13, Cooler, and Broly, we realized most of these guys do what they do without a cost or any drawback, which was a feature of older cards. There's a cost to pay for everything, and they didn't.
To be fair, actually, Broly does have a cost. You have to have 2 attacks in your hand. So if you don't use those abilities early on in the attack, they become literally worthless to you. Besides stage damage.
It does dictate the flow. You have to open up with it unless you have some other...
and as playing with someone that plays an Orange Krillin, you know, that was your opening move. Every time you went into combat, the first thing you did was Krillin's power, because his power dictated, because it stopped a lot of shenanigans from happening. It stopped blue, it stopped black, it stopped a lot of things from being taken advantage of against you, because you're just like, oh, you're gonna try to make me mill top 2 of my deck or something like that, or drop a card from my hand with black DBZ Mastery. I'm just gonna say screw you. I'm gonna still crit you and gain 2 anger off of it.
They interacted and synergized very well, to the point where now we know why Krillin was king of the game for a year and a half.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and Orange does too, and we're gonna go over it when we see the new masteries. But I feel like Orange Krillin's gonna be a thing, and it's gonna have its own heyday, and it's gonna have a comeback.
I'd like to see that. The thing that I think will stall any game and cause a player base to start looking elsewhere is when the game stagnates and say, are you playing this character? If you're not playing this character, you're not going to win.
You know, and we said that especially about like Cell, but like even with Cell had some counters to it. I know, you know, Tien did massive amounts of damage that it just couldn't come back from.
It's true.
Also, you know, I ran Saiyan Nappa at the time, and it was a different build than what it is now. But it just was so much anger gain and stuff like that it didn't matter if he would lower me back down to level 3. In fact, I welcomed him to level me back down to level 2 or 3, because Nappa's works in such a way that he just doesn't care. Oh, you're going to lower me back down to level 2? Okay, all my attacks deal 2 stages to you before they even go off. You know, and it's all your personality. So even if you're playing allies, that would really start hurting. But like get me, I'd shoot up to level 4 before he could get to level 4. And then, you know, all my attacks would do +5 stage. +5 or +4? I think it's +4 stages. And then if they're at 0, then they can't use endurance. But he would drop me down to 3, and I'm just like, okay, I'll attack you for 7 stages. Just destroy a drill or an ally.
Oh, definitely. There were answers to this guy. I would definitely agree. You know, even in Cell's heyday, there were some answers. But he was sort of made to hard counter MPPV decks.
Oh yeah, and
I don't mind that.
And that was the thing too, because I came out with an Orange Raditz deck that at the time could almost out MPV a Namekian Piccolo deck, which is really a hard thing to do, and of Orange of all things to be able to do that is something really kind of cool. But I couldn't play it because of Cell at the time.
I'll never forget the fact that Cell was able to hold back deck after deck after deck from MPPV with no effort.
Yep.
This is the criteria I lay out for main personalities. I always say, what does it do well, and what does it do not well? What is its strength? What is its weakness? Is the wrong word, but what does it not do as well?
Yeah. And there has to be some sort of balance to it.
Cell didn't have one at his original release. It was a physical attack, so you could wear down their hand of physical attacks.
And this is why we saw like the Roshis and stuff like that come out, because they were able to stall out.
Yep.
Slug did a really good job of that. Actually, the few times that we had Cell players here, and I just whipped out Slug, and it was fun because literally I didn't care if you hit me. I just rejuvenated all back. You can't touch my Dragon Balls, and I'll just win that way.
Oh yeah, there were certainly plans to deal with it. What I don't like, to me, is when a new personality comes out and the only real counters to it, the only things that can play at its level, are things from that set.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't like being pushed forward by the makers saying, "Hey, play the new stuff."
And unfortunately, that's how the makers kind of have to be, because they want to sell product.
Oh, you have to.
But there is a way to go about it, and I feel like, especially that's what makes me really excited about this new set. Is I feel like they're doing it in a right way, because they're saying, hey, buy the new stuff, but you don't necessarily have to shy away from the older personalities, and also we've made a couple of mistakes, and here's our little counters to that, or fixes for it.
Well, exactly. If I had to put a phrase on it, is make them effective, but effective in new ways.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they stand head and shoulders above everything older. So that actually brings us to Caught Up, just sort of a small critique of previous sets and about where we were, where the meta was about the time we were getting ready. Well, I guess it's not entirely true. We probably should say a bit more about Vengeance. If I had to rank them, Broly would probably be the most outright powerful, but when paired with older masteries, Cooler apparently was the king.
Cooler was pretty good.
I don't get that. I don't entirely understand. How does Cooler...
It is basically because he is basically Krillin. He can do a lot of damage really fast. He can go either way. He had a lot of control board control. But he had the one thing that none of those other decks had, and that was the rejuvenation.
Oh yeah, just outlasting him.
Yeah, and I could just outlast you, but I can dish out the damage at the same time.
Man, which you think about it, that's a hard combo to beat. A fella where if you're gonna go blow for blow, you won't. It's not that you won't out damage him. You won't outlast him.
Yeah. And that kind of is what it comes down to. Now, that doesn't mean you can't win against it.
No.
I've won a couple games against them, and it can happen where they get a bad hand or something like that. They can't nullify that. That's the other thing. They also have Dragon Balls, so they have the whole three-way of winning.
Oh gosh, triple threat decks, and it was the strongest version of the triple threat deck.
Well, and Red Mastery, and I'm glad to see it go. I know a lot of people are jumping and yelling at the TV.
It's fine.
But it was really unbalanced in comparison. I understand that you want the anger gain, and you want to be raged, and you want to go in all the time. But the problem is it was so unbalanced in that it's so easy to get that, because most of the cards had gain anger because I'm red and I'm enraged, and then you add that with shoulder grab or something else to make it a crits, or you would add the modifiers to make it like with Broly or something like that would give you modifiers on top of it to make it easier to crit. It just would become like, I play this one card, I'm going to gain 3 anger. Namekians are overpowered for that same reason, but I'm not, because I'm red. I'm different. So
No, I'll say that flat out. There was entirely too many ways to get unending beatdowns and anger out the wazoo with that particular mastery. And I'm willing to bet that Panini saw this coming some time ago and has been slowly but surely inching us away from it so that we have alternatives.
I think so, and I think that's why they've been doing a lot of the push for the banished effects from the graveyard and stuff like that, to try to be like, hey guys, you need to kind of be using this new mastery. Actually, we've been seeing the same thing with a lot of the different masteries, like Orange, for example. They've been like, hey guys, here are all these new searching effects to search out your drills from the graveyard and put them into play and stuff like that. You don't need this old mastery anymore. Or,
definitely.
With even Namekian, they're like, hey guys, this card stays in play if you've drawn a card this turn, use the new mastery.
Well, speaking of, definitely. There's been a lot of hints of cards that were technically useless in the set they were in, clearly with a forward thought.
Well, and I was just talking to this with our singles person. She was asking what packs to buy, and I was like, a lot of people skipped over Evolution, or they didn't buy as much of Evolution because they
I
thought the
was-
cards were useless. And now, especially now, they're starting to see that some of those cards were really, really broken. They were really, really good, especially with the new Masteries. That's what they were made for. We just needed to take the time and be like, hey, these actually work very well. Like,
Speaking of, I get this feeling. I said, okay, is Panini actively working on 3 sets at any given time?
I think they have a bigger picture in mind than what we think they do. I think sometimes when they see that bigger picture, it stops them from seeing the smaller pictures, the metas that we end up having.
Yes, they do.
But they're usually pretty good at seeing that and doing something about it, usually. Because they have stepped in a couple times and they were like, hey, this is not how we had this envisioned. We're going to make it to where this is it instead. And that's a good sign.
Level 3 and 4.
Well, not only that, but just other cards, you know? Them being like, hey, Smoothest Drill really needs to be at 1.
Yeah, it really did.
And everyone was like, whoa, Black Krilling's horrible now. And it's like,
No, he's
no,
not.
you only needed 1 in all honesty. And if you got it, you got it. If you didn't, you didn't. It
I'll
wasn't
say,
the
how
end of
many
the
can you
world.
have out at once? 1. That's it. Why is 1 a hard thing for you people? I'll put my little past 1 judgment on like who is the strongest out of all. Technically, Cooler top cuts and even wins more than Broly, but to me, Broly had all the answers.
Well, also to me, Broly has
The hard
more
counter
range.
attack. Oh yeah.
And they all are just about as equally good. Because you can run like a blue ally Broly, and it can still do some serious damage if you know how to build that sort of thing. And I'm surprised that no one's really kind of done that yet.
Except for Cruz.
I could see Cruz doing that, in all honesty, if he just thought about it.
It never came up.
And like even with Saiyan, we do see more often the Saiyan the Red because they're the ones that are the main ones.
Yeah.
But even Black, I went up against a couple Black Broly decks at regionals, and they did pretty well.
Yeah, I was told that they disarm your ability to defend them very quickly with all the searching cards.
Yeah,
And
or attacks,
and then
because they can just turn off your attacks for a turn, and that does a lot of damage.
And then they wind up for 1 death hit in combat. And blam.
And that's the problem that they have, though, is that they have to do the wind up. The funny thing, and the one that I've seen actually works the most consistently the best, and that nobody else runs, is Orange. I think it's a very underestimated, especially the new Mastery.
Oh no, I fully get you. What was my last word on this? Give me a second. I was just thinking about it with this new set. With Vengeance, just to sort of where did it leave us off?
Oh, the things with Vengeance. Where did it leave us off?
Oh, you know what was? We'll sort of wrap this into where we're going to go with this before everything started to come out. We were going into our own organized play season, real quick, and this is one of those things that's terrible. You're like, okay, which deck was which MP stack was the king of Vengeance? Well, let me put it this way: it may not have been a question of what was winning, but what did you prepare your deck to fight? It wasn't Cooler.
And it wasn't Broly, actually.
No way. Mine was. I only had 1 enemy. It was Broly.
With me, I actually prepared more or less for Namekian and Saiyan. And it wasn't Saiyan Broly specifically, but it was more or less a little tech here, a little tech there. Like I said, I played Orange Broly. I didn't worry about Broly versus Broly because here's the thing. I know I could search out a drill right off the bat that can make my AT4. So you can knock me down to 0 stages. I can knock you down to 0 stages. The difference is you're hitting me for 1 at that point for an AT. I'm hitting you for 4 with an AT.
This is pretty good. No, I get you. You had
all the other
natural
stuff.
balance.
So my focus was on techs and things like that because it's like I can't do against the anger game.
Oh yeah. It's
I can hit hard. I just can't do it enough to crit you every 5 seconds. And there's not a lot of anger hit cards in Orange.
Not many, no.
So it was like I needed to stop things from like rejuvenating or gaining stages. That one just such a great. That snoozing drill. Such a great hidden NPV. Shuts down the Saiyan Mastery.
Oh man,
and they don't realize how much they rely on it until you're just like, yeah, I'm hitting you for 4 AT stage plus another 2 plus another 1 plus another 1, and so you're looking at like a 9 base with whatever your modifier was on the actual card, it's very intimidating. And they needed those stage bufferings, and then they're just like, okay, I'm gonna hit you for 1 + 3 stages. I'm like, okay, I'll take the 3 life. You don't gain any stages though, and that just it changes the game so much.
Well, I gotta admit that was my vote for most broken combination in all of the new set. Was old empowered, sand empowered with Broly. To me, that's the worst one of them all because huge endurance, automatic stage gain, can't stage lock them as long as they're throwing and hitting you. So I dislike that combination most. It had no weakness.
That's the thing. That's why I laugh at people that are like, oh, this is unfair, this is unfair. But if you look at like things like Orange and stuff like that, they have built-in counters for situational things. And
and you did better than a lot of us. I'll give you that.
I mean, I could have probably done better had I put in a couple of other tips. I'm really kind of sad they didn't put Observation Drill in there.
Oh, yeah.
That would have won me the Cooler game. That would have won me the Piccolo game.
That would have been something to see. You could have been killing your way to the top, and
Well, and the thing was, I still had them scared because I'd throw out things like the Snoozing Drill and then add on top of that the Freezing Drill and stuff like that, and then they're just like, I can't block, I can't play any of my attacks that gave me stage, I can't play Dragon Balls to gain stages.
And that cripples like 20 cards out of my deck. Not even joking.
Yeah.
Like if you got me, I'd be over a barrel. I'd be in bad shape.